He didn't hold grudges. He held memories, the kind that didn't fade when the credits rolled. Mel Brooks, the man who turned chaos into a career, laughter into a legacy, and actors into buckets of unpredictable energy, remembered every slight, every eye roll, every moment where someone thought they were bigger than the joke. And in Hollywood, that kind of memory was lethal. Because if you lost Brooks's trust, you didn't just lose a role, you lost the room, and nobody ever got it back. For more than 6 decades, Mel Brooks didn't just make movies. He made systems, whirling planets of punchlines, timing, and precision comedy where every actor was a cog designed to keep the laughs spinning. And when one of those cogs slipped, when someone dragged the rhythm down or tried to control it, Brooks didn't shout. He didn't storm off. He quietly erased that person from his universe. No press release, no dramatic feud, just silence. And there were 5 actors he never forgot. The first was a Broadway heavyweight, a man who walked onto a Mel Brooks set wearing a crown and found out the hard way that there was no throne in a Brooks production. Frank Langella looked perfect on paper, magnetic, commanding, classically trained. He'd just played Dracula on Broadway. It was serious, acclaimed, dramatic. The problem, Mel Brooks was not making serious. He was making chaos. Langella walked into pre-production for Dracula, dead and loving it like he was reprising Hamlet. He took melodrama seriously. Brooks took comedy seriously. Langella paused for effect. Brooks wanted him slipping on a candelabra. Rehearsals stalled. The cast froze. Brooks tried every direction he could think of to loosen him, whispering jokes, rewriting lines, begging Langella to react, to breathe, to honor the rhythm. It didn't work. Langella gave every line like it was etched in stone. The man was playing Dracula. Brooks wanted someone surviving slapstick, not delivering Shakespeare. The final straw came at a table read when Langella asked if Brooks wanted him to mock the text. Brooks stared at him for a moment and said, "No, I want you to survive it." Langella was quietly replaced. No scene, no tabloids. Just Leslie Nielsen showing up where Dracula used to be. If you asked Brooks what went wrong, he'd tell you one thing. Langella brought a crown. Brooks was building a circus. The next actor didn't just show up with a crown. He helped build the kingdom and then walked away with part of it. Gene Wilder wasn't just a collaborator. He was Mel Brooks' other half, the producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. Together, they weren't just rewriting comedy. They were inventing a new language for it. Every scene was alchemy. Every joke was a shared heartbeat. Until it wasn't. After Young Frankenstein, Wilder wanted to direct. He had a new script, full of ambition, the adventure of Sherlock Holmes's smarter brother. He asked Brooks to produce it. Brooks said no. He didn't think Gene was ready. Gene did. What started as a disagreement cracked something deeper. Wilder saw it as betrayal. Brooks saw it as protection. The tension didn't explode. It just froze. Both men moved forward, but not together. Wilder made the film without Brooks. It had the faces, the humor, the talent, but not the lightning. And when it underperformed, the space between them calcified. They didn't scream. They didn't trash each other in magazines. They just stopped talking. Years later, they reunited by accident. 2 legends in the same room. A handshake, a joke or two, a shadow of their old rhythm. But it was never the same. Brooks would later say that Gene Wilder was the only actor he ever trusted with half-finished ideas. After the split, he never offered someone that kind of creative intimacy again. Not because of anger, but because Gene was the only one who knew exactly where it hurt. Where Wilder broke Brooks's heart, another just never got through the door. Chevy Chase was a superstar. Smart, fast, a darling of late-night talk shows, and a headliner in film after film. Studios loved him, audiences loved him. His timing was impeccable, but his energy? Completely wrong for Mel Brooks. Chase was all edge, smirk, and sarcasm. He knew he was funny. He knew he was quick, but Brooks didn't want someone who beat the joke to the punchline. He wanted someone who believed the punchline, who surrendered to it, ridiculous or not. The biggest near miss came during Spaceballs. Chase was pitched for Dark Helmet. Brooks didn't even consider it. He wanted Rick Moranis, someone who could step back, let others shine, and still steal the scene without smothering it. Brooks said it plainly. Chevy didn't share. He dominated. Brooks famously said that some actors made choices based on wanting to be the smartest in the room. For Chevy, the joke was always secondary to the smirk. And in Brooks's world, that wasn't just a problem, it was a deal breaker. They only met once. It ended with Brooks saying, "Maybe in another universe." That universe never came. Then there was Harvey Korman, a man who did make it in, who crushed every line, delivered every awkward glance, every exaggerated posture perfectly. Brooks trusted him, for a while. Blazing Saddles, High Anxiety, History of the World. Part 1, Korman was a sketch legend, improv trained, loose, fluid, brilliant, but he wanted control. He questioned beats, he rewrote lines, he paused to find the character right in the middle of Brooks's tight comedic tempo. At first, Brooks adjusted. Then he gave notes. Then he stopped giving them directly. What began as sharp collaboration turned into quiet warfare. Korman wasn't trying to sabotage anything. He just wasn't wired for Brooks's controlled precision. And Brooks, for his part, wasn't wired to keep arguing for the same beat. Eventually, the tension wore thin. When High Anxiety wrapped, Brooks didn't fire Korman. He just didn't call him again. Not because of ego or temper, but because the rhythm had died. Brooks always said that some actors added magic, and some added friction. Korman was both, but in the long run, the friction won. But the last actor on this list was the only one Brooks didn't even want to try. Jerry Lewis. A genius, yes. A phenomenon, yes. But in Mel Brooks's world, a tornado with a megaphone. Lewis rewrote scenes on the spot. He flipped sets around. He dominated every stage he stepped on. That wasn't collaboration. That was takeover. Studios tried to marry their brands. Comedy's two kings in one film. Brooks refused every time. The only real attempt happened during casting for Life Stinks. The studio pushed Lewis to play a supporting role. Brooks said no. Not because Lewis wasn't brilliant, but because he was too brilliant, too loud, too controlling, too determined to make his version of the film inside your version of the film. Brooks didn't cast personalities. He cast balance. They met once. Jerry talked about himself for 15 minutes straight. Brooks excused himself to the restroom and never came back. Later, he said, "Jerry was a genius who needed applause. I needed quiet." The clash never happened, and that's what made it permanent. In the end, Mel Brooks didn't blacklist actors for lack of talent. He never punished someone for being bad. He punished them for being careless, for forgetting the rhythm, for breaking the unspoken contract that comedy demands: trust, timing, and surrender. In his world, you could be chaotic, you could be odd, you could even be difficult, but you could never forget that comedy, like a family, doesn't work when someone is trying to eat alone. So who do you think almost made the list? Who else walked into a Mel Brooks universe and got quietly erased from it? Drop your guesses in the comments. And if you want early access to the next Hollywood Blacklist, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around. Because with Mel Brooks, getting cast was never the victory. Staying cast was.